Let me ask you something. Have you ever played a song you've heard 1,000 times and suddenly noticed instruments you swear were never there before? That moment when the music just opens up. The bass feels alive. The vocals sound like the singer stepped into the room. That's the kind of experience people chase when they upgrade their speakers. And today we're talking about a pair of speakers that promise exactly that: the Edifier S1000W. These aren't your typical plastic smart speakers. They look like classic bookshelf speakers from an old-school hi-fi system. But secretly, they're packed with modern features like Wi-Fi streaming, Bluetooth, Alexa support, AirPlay 2, and Spotify Connect. So the real question is, are these the perfect upgrade for your music setup, or are they just another overhyped pair of speakers? Let's find out. First impressions. These things are serious. The first thing you notice when unboxing the S1000W. These speakers are not small. Each one feels solid, dense, and heavy. Together they weigh about 16.7 kilograms. That weight actually tells you something important. These aren't hollow plastic boxes. The cabinet feels dense, the wood finish looks premium, and the angled design gives them a subtle studio monitor vibe. They instantly feel like something meant to stay in your setup for years. But there's a catch. Because of that size, you need real space for them. They're deep speakers, almost 30 centimeters, and the rear bass port means you shouldn't push them right against a wall. So if your desk or shelf is tiny, these might feel like trying to park an SUV in a motorcycle spot. But if you have room, they look fantastic. Setup. Surprisingly flexible. One of the things that immediately stands out about these speakers is how many ways you can connect them. Seriously, they're almost impossible to make incompatible with your setup. You get Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 5.0, optical, coaxial, and RCA analog inputs, which means they can easily connect to your TV, your computer, your phone, a streaming device, or even older audio gear. Most active speakers give you maybe two options. These feel like they were designed for people who connect everything. And the wireless side is where things get really interesting. Because over Wi-Fi, you can stream directly using AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, Tidal, and even control playback through Alexa voice commands. So instead of playing music from your phone's Bluetooth every time, you can just say something like, "Alexa, play my playlist," and the speakers handle it. It's a nice blend of classic audio gear and modern smart home convenience. The app. Actually useful. To unlock all the wireless features, you'll want to install the Edifier Home app. Normally, I'm skeptical about companion apps, but this one actually makes sense. It lets you connect the speakers to Wi-Fi, update firmware, and manage streaming services. You can even group multiple speakers around your home for multi-room audio. So imagine music playing in the living room, the kitchen, and the hallway, all perfectly synced. The app basically acts as the command center for everything the S1000W can do. And thankfully, it's stable and easy to use. But if you hate apps, good news. You can still run the speakers the old-fashioned way with wired inputs and the remote. Controls. Old school meets smart. One thing I really appreciate about these speakers is how simple the physical controls are. On the back of the main speaker, you'll find 3 knobs: volume, bass, treble. That's it. No complicated menus. Just turn the knobs and adjust the sound instantly. But here's the funny part. Because the controls are on the back, sometimes adjusting them means reaching around the speaker like you're trying to crack a safe. It's not a deal breaker. But if the speakers are on a tight shelf, it can be a little awkward. Still, once you dial the sound in, you probably won't touch them very often. Sound quality. Where these speakers shine. All right, let's talk about the reason anyone buys speakers in the first place. How do they actually sound? Inside the S1000W, you get a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter and a 5.5-inch aluminum mid-bass driver. That combination creates a sound that's clear, punchy, and surprisingly powerful. The first thing you notice is the bass. For bookshelf speakers, it's impressive. Not the kind that rattles your walls like a giant subwoofer, but enough to give music real depth and energy. Kick drums feel punchy, electronic music feels alive, movie soundtracks suddenly feel cinematic, and when the bass line drops in a track, you feel it. The sound tuning. One small quirk. Now here's something interesting. Out of the box, the speakers push a lot of bass and treble. Some people love that energetic sound, but for certain tracks, the highs can feel a bit too sharp. Cymbals can pop a little too much. Vocals can feel slightly behind the instruments. The good news? Those bass and treble knobs fix that instantly. Just a small tweak and the sound becomes beautifully balanced. So while the tuning isn't perfect right away, it's incredibly easy to adjust. Real-world listening. Over a few days of listening, the S1000W really starts to reveal what it's good at. These speakers fill a room effortlessly. You don't have to push the volume very high before the entire space feels immersed in sound. And even when you crank them up, they stay clean. No distortion, no harshness, just powerful, room-filling audio. For music lovers, that's the magic moment. When the speakers disappear, and all that's left is the music. The few missing pieces. For everything the S1000W does well, there are a couple of surprising omissions. The biggest one. There's no HDMI input. That means if you're connecting them to a TV, you'll probably use the optical port instead. It works perfectly fine. But HDMI would have made the setup simpler. Another thing to keep in mind is if you're using a turntable. These speakers don't include a built-in phono preamp. So if your record player doesn't have one built in, you'll need an external preamp to make it work. And one more thing. There's no dedicated subwoofer output either, which means you're relying entirely on the speaker's built-in bass. Thankfully, the bass is good enough that most people won't miss a sub. Price. Where it lands. The Edifier S1000W originally launched around $449, and that price puts it in a really interesting category. It's not cheap Bluetooth speakers, but it's also not ultra-expensive audiophile gear. It sits right in that sweet spot where you get serious sound quality without needing a full hi-fi system. And because the amplifier is already built in, you don't need extra gear. Just plug them in and start listening. Who these speakers are perfect for. These speakers make a lot of sense if you want something that can handle everything. Music streaming, TV audio, Bluetooth from your phone, Wi-Fi streaming around the house, and they do it all without needing a complicated audio setup. They're especially great for people who love the look of traditional speakers, but still want modern smart speaker features. It's a rare combination. Classic design on the outside, modern technology on the inside. Final verdict. So after spending time with the Edifier S1000W, here's the honest takeaway. These speakers feel like a bridge between two worlds. They have the warm, powerful sound of real bookshelf speakers, but the convenience of modern wireless streaming. Yes, they're big. Yes, HDMI would have been nice. But once you start listening to them, those things fade away. Because the sound is rich. The bass is satisfying. And the flexibility of all those connection options makes them incredibly easy to live with. If you have the space for them, the Edifier S1000W might be one of the most satisfying upgrades you can make to your home audio setup. And the moment you press play on your favorite song, you'll probably hear something new.